Hey y'all, hey, back with another video. So this is what we talking about too. All right. So not too much that happened this week. Let's start off with the small shit. So Drake dropped 100 gigs, I guess as it's called. So on one of his Finsters, which is a fake Instagram if y'all don't know, he kind of dropped 100 gigs of data. So a lot of people like have sorted through it and are sorting through it. It is a combination of three, I don't want to say new songs because to me they sound a little bit older, but three songs, and then the rest of it is just like footage of him recording in the studio. So different eras, from Take Care era. We seen him do Over My Dead Body. Like that needs to be capsulated and put in like the Smithsonian. Like capsulate that video and put it in the Smithsonian. Over My Dead Body, literally. We see him working on Scorpion. We see him working on Certified Lover Boy. Let me tell you something. Certified Lover Boy, I don't care how much y'all don't like that album. That's one of my favorite albums, period, by him. There was like a scene where he's just listening like to the music off his phone, which I think is really, really smart. That's a good ear test. But he's listening to Blue Tint with him in Future. That might be one of my favorite songs, probably next to Jada off of Scorpion. Love that. So a lot of people were wondering, like, why did he do this? Is it because, some people feel like it's him like trying to humanize himself or whatever. I feel like it's more so like, let me remind y'all. Like, I know, like, we're in a moment and Kendrick is having a moment, although that moment is dying down. Like, he had a moment, but, like, let's not forget who the boy is. Like, I'm the person that's been consistently providing y'all with hits for over 15 years. Like, me, I did that. So that's what I think that was. And now everybody's back on the Drake trend. Oh my gosh, look at everything he dropped. Over My Dead Body, Take Care. Oh my gosh, just look at everything they did. They showed him doing a reference track for Yikes for Kanye. I think that was also purposeful to show, everybody likes to say, Drake has writers and stuff, but it was really interesting to see his process, the fact that he pins for other people. Y'all love to say that he have people that pin for him, but y'all never want to bring up the fact that he writes for other people. So that was there too. Loved that. There were like little clips, that kind of came from that. I liked the clip with him and Rihanna. I thought that it was really, really cute and very petty for him to drop that at the same time, because of Rocky and whatever. But yeah, I like out of the three songs that he dropped, I really like It's Up with him, 21, and Thug. It sounds like something that was left off of Her Loss. Which I don't know why, because it's a really good song. The Blue, Red, and Green song, I have to get into it a little bit. And I don't like the song with him and Latto, which is a perfect segue into the Latto album, right? So I think with the other girls, I did individual videos, and I definitely thought about doing an individual video for her like everybody else. But, I said I might as well just put everything together here. So Latto dropped her album last Friday, I believe, and the name of the album, I don't know why I'm saying like that, is shit. I don't know why she would name it that, but whatever. It's Sugar Honey Iced Tea. So I'm really just going through the songs that I added. Now this is off of first listen, the songs that I added. Georgia Peach, which is the intro. Now I also want to say, before the album dropped, Latto said please listen to the whole album like in order. It's like, even Big Mama, if you didn't listen, if you know the song, just because I tried my best to really sequence this album great. I want to say this. Out of all of the rap albums I've heard this year, albums I've heard this year, next to Cowboy Carter, this is the best like track list as far as the sequence is concerned, because everything does seamlessly go into the next song, kind of how Cowboy Carter did on the second half, like the way Renaissance did. That's what this album did. Like, I love Meg's album, I love Glow's album, I like JT's album, but even their albums did not flow the way that her shit is. It's literally going from one song into the other. And specifically when we're talking about Big Mama, I did not like Big Mama when it came out. I did not like that song. I didn't get the hype. I didn't get it. But when you listen in order, when you listen to Georgia Peach, which is the opening track, which I think is a great. I think she has a strong opening. and closing track. Like, those two tracks are the standout tracks in the album. But for it to go into From Georgia Peach, it literally seamlessly goes. Let me see real fast if I could just show y'all what I mean. This shit goes seamlessly into Big Mama. Look. It's like the last 15 seconds of Georgia Peach. Come on. I love that transition. That was good. And again, it did that throughout the whole album. Really loved it. So we got Georgia Peach, love that as an opening track. Big Mama, love it now that I've heard it in the sequence on the album. Settle Down, Shrimp and Grits is my shit. Bitch! Shrimp and Grits? Wait. And bitch, H&M. And miserable. My shit. That's like my number one song right now of Bitch Be Hurt and Miserable. They sure the fuck do, okay? And then we got Copper Cove featuring Hunto. Amazing track. And then Ear Candy with Coco Jones, and that's just off my first listen. So off first listen, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. I got 7 songs off this album from first listen. Loved it. I feel like, oh, and I didn't say, but the Shout Out to Me, which is the last song, closing track. Now the Shout Out to Me song was very, very Drake vibes, like heavy, middle of the ocean, golden roses, that type of Drake. It gave pure Drake flow, but I really, really liked it. She dissed Isis, that is her name, but she dissed Ice Spice at least like about 15,000 times on this album, but that last track, she ate her ass up at least 2 to 3 different times. Loved it. I will say I like the direction of this album simply because I feel like when Latto kind of I won't say ran into, but with Big Energy, right? I feel like they was trying to make that a record and it just so happened to work. But I feel like her label is trying to push her to be like rap poppy, like kind of like Doja and Nicki. And that's what I feel like they tried to do with her last album, and that just didn't land. I think y'all need to stick to what it is. Latto is a rapper. The same way I've said the same thing about Megan. Megan is a rapper. Like she does well when she's rapping, like when she's being in hip hop, what she thrives in. Not when y'all try to take her out and place her on these pop hits. The way that somebody like Megan or Latto, the way that they really have to like thrive is it has to be an organic hip hop rap song. I've said this so many times. I feel like people put Megan in the pop lane the minute that like Savage did what it did. But if you listen to Savage is not a pop song. It just so happened to become popular. So because of that, I feel like they tried to put Megan in the direction of being more pop when that's not really where she shines. She does not shine in the pop lane. Not to say that she can't do it, but we saw what happened with Bongos with her and Cardi. When y'all try to manufacture shit like that for artists, it does not work a lot of times. I think this album will do really well for Latto long term. I feel like she will get a few hits off of this album the same way that oh my gosh, I'm going to do a whole separate video on Meg's album. But Meg's album alone has, I don't know how many hits off of it. How many? And none of them are the pop track that they tried to put on there, which I think was Moody Girl. That's not the one that's hitting because that's not where she shines. So again, Latto to me, locked in this album for what she's good for. She is a rapper. She kind of do the little singy thing too, but I really like that. I also really like that the album, she's talking a lot about being in love. Like a lot of this album is her really fawning over her nigga, like her just saying how happy she really is to be with somebody and how supportive 21 is, allegedly. So I really like that aspect too, because it gives like a different view, you know, kind of, versus like talking about, you know, like fucking. It's a nice album from that sense. It's kind of like a love album to me. It's a love album if you ask me. That's just my opinion. But I really, really like the album. Now, let's go into this conversation, right? So the numbers just came out for her album, and I believe she sold 27K. It's either 27 or 30. I just want to make sure that I'm right. Let me see. Yeah, so she did 27K first week, right? So a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you flopped. No, here's the thing. This is the thing. There has been this conversation on whether or not like female rappers are flopping, when the conversation needs to be that the industry as a whole, the music industry as a whole, is down as far as sales is concerned. It's not just her. Megan, I think when she dropped, she did 67K. JT did 27K. Glorilla did about that amount. But sales are down across the board. This is not, I really wish that we could find like a new metric or something like that, because this is not 2000. This is not the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the early 2000s. Hell, even part of the 2010s. We're in a completely different, we're in a streaming era. So numbers, the way that they were like years ago, are just not how they are now. So it's hard to kind of be able to gauge, you know, what a good number is. Yeah, so when it just comes to the topics of sales, I just think we can't have the same conversation that we was. That's why, like, even when, like, not to kind of like pick on Nicki again, but like when that whole thing happened, when it was like, oh, Nicki passed Aretha, and it's like, I mean, yeah, she did, but she didn't, because she didn't, it's not the same thing. Like, people back in the day had to get up off the couch, go to a record store, buy your record, come back, not just sit on their ass and stream shit. So like it's a false equivalency. It's a false equivalency across the board. So let's move on to JT and Miami, right? Or Caresha. So Caresha just recently, she had dropped like this little quick trailer for Caresha Please. At first she said Caresha Please was coming back, which is her podcast if you don't know. So everybody was wondering who the first guest was going to be, and come to find out, she's the first guest. Now, realistically, this does make sense, because Caresha Please is her getting into other people's business, and she can't get into nobody else's business until she gets into her own. I feel like overall, the interview was not needed. I get why she did it, because like I said, you can't be in everybody else's business, but we did not learn anything new from this. I won't say that I feel like she was like, no, she was defending Diddy, but to me, more so in the sense of like, she just kept talking about everything that he did for her. Do you get what I'm saying? But it wasn't like a defense like, oh, I'm not saying he's not that person. I'm just telling you what he did for me. So let's get into the interview real fast, right? So Santana, which is her best friend, Saucy Santana, is the one who interviewed her. You know, she said like she felt like that was the best person because she wasn't going to be open with nobody else. So he pretty much starts off with asking her how was her mental health doing. And she pretty much started the episode off crying, saying, you know, like she's been having a hard time because when everything kind of was going off, whatever, the people that she thought would be in her corner wasn't in her corner. They was like, ha 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 ha, that's what you get. Now, I want to talk about that for a brief second, because this is the thing. This is the thing, Caresha. I'm not saying that it's right, but you was showing your natural black ass when you was with Diddy. You was doing ha-ha to everybody else, but your ha-ha was, ha-ha, you're not with a billionaire, ha-ha, I'm with a billionaire. I'm the one that he's flying out. I'm the one that he's taking here and there, and you flying with him and his kids and stuff. So it's like, first of all, you should expect people to do ha-ha-ha, because like that's just how life goes. But especially when you were doing that to other people, you were absolutely doing that across the board. So it's like, I feel bad because you should have had somebody in your corner, and people that you thought that, that was your friends should have been there. But I also understand how people could point the finger and laugh at you, because again, you showed your natural black ass the whole time that you was with this man. So when it comes to the whole situation with Cassie, and they never said her name directly, but Santana asked her why has she not like spoken up or said anything since that video has come out. And she said that she never spoke about it because she can't speak on something that like she doesn't know anything about. And pretty much said that, like, she was not by Diddy, but in the past she has been in like domestic violence situations, and how she promised she'd never do that again. Now she said when she met Diddy, he was in his quote unquote love era, right? So when she met him, he was very like, I don't even know what's the word I'm looking for. Like, y'all know the little love era that he was kind of in. And I feel like, shout out to Jessie Woo, who said, I think it was a scheme, the scheme that Todd set up, because I believe wholeheartedly that Diddy knew that Cassie shit was coming down the pipeline, and he needed to do certain things. For example, everybody thought it was really weird when out of the blue, he wanted to give the masters back to all of his artists just randomly on a fucking Tuesday. And Aubrey from Danity Kane came out and said, yeah, he offered it to us, but he wanted us to sign an NDA, which I wasn't going to sign. Jadakiss said under one of the posts that had said something about him giving his money back, that was news to him, because he ain't know nothing about that. So I really feel like Miami was also, Caresha or Miami, whatever the hell you want to call her, I believe that she was part of his plan as far as like the new love era. Because let's really talk about it. She talks about how, them being in a relationship, how she was like, oh, I'm not one of those girls that's just gonna like go get a bag and go on trips and not get nothing else. No, I was getting business tips from him and he was helping me set up things. And it's like, well, you would be a dumbass if you didn't do it that way. I think everybody who looked at y'all quote unquote situationship, we got it for what it was. He was using you because you appealed to a much younger demographic. You was younger, you was lit, you was outside. So you're able to kind of carry him into a more like relevant market segment, I guess I'd say. And from your point of view, like to him, obviously he's a billionaire, so all of the connections that he has, the way he's going to be able to set you up, show you how to get your business and your money and everything correctly, that's the benefit that you get from him. I think that was clear. Like, she said that as if like that was a surprise to anybody. She also said in this interview that she loved him. Now, girl, you might have loved him, but I don't know if that man loved you. I think you were used and y'all used each other, and that was not a secret. We all get what y'all get from being with each other. We just kind of let y'all ride out and play the game of, oh, we're in a relationship, blah, 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 blah. Like, Caresha is, I think, 1 year older than me. Come on. So we then talk about JT for a quick second, right? So Santana asks like what pretty much is the status of them, her and JT. And she pretty much says that they're no longer in the group, and that they haven't been rocking for quite some time. And now JT did say this in her other interviews. They both said that the group wasn't making any money. I heard JT say that. And now Caresha's saying the same thing. So she said she had to go do her own thing. And that's kind of what happened. Now, I had to go back and really do my due diligence on the timeline of this. Because from everything that I remember, if I remember correctly, Caresha started to do her own thing prior to me, like them going downhill. Once she got with Diddy, that was the end of that. She got with Diddy and that was that. So City on Lock, which was the last album that they put out was Raw. Y'all know that. But City of Lock came out June 20th of 2020, right? Okay. The different let me see, the different singles that was off of that album was Jobs, Pussy Talk, and Rodeo. Those are the three singles that came off of that album that did pretty damn good. Now when I went back and I did my Googles, Young Miami and Diddy got together in 2021. So that means 1 year after y'all dropped y'all album, you then get in a relationship or a situationship, however the hell you want to call it. Then y'all pretty much get together. Almost a year after. I just want to make sure that I'm right. Yes. So since the summer of 2021, y'all been together. Then if we move on from there, right? Caresha Please podcast started when? I'm doing all of this just so I can make sure I have my dates correctly. So that would have been 2022. So 2020, City Girls on Lock came out. 2021, you start dating Diddy. In 2022, you have Caresha Please as the podcast. That whole time period, JT wasn't doing anything. JT was chilling at home, chilling with Uzi. So to me, that timeline of, the group wasn't making any money. I think at some point in time, yeah, it probably wasn't making any money. But that's because you decided that was no longer, in my opinion, it felt like to most people watching that the group was no longer a priority to you, that you being up under this nigga 24/7 was your priority. Because again, the timeline ain't adding up. JT already said that the album that she has out now, City Cinderella, she just put it together at the top of this year. And then before that, she was working, Sideways and Okay. But for real, JT didn't really put anything out until last year on her own. So that means from 2020 to 2023, we did not hear shit from JT outside of the album that y'all had. And like I said, in 2023, she dropped Okay and Sideways. But in between that time frame, we see you everywhere. You got the podcast, you got the damn shot glasses, and I'm not upset about that, but I don't like the narrative that she's trying to make it seem like, oh, we wasn't making any money and that's when I did my own thing. No, you were doing your own thing very much so before that. So I thought that was really, 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 really weird. She also said that that like when it comes to her music and stuff like that, let me stick on JT. So with her and JT, she pretty much feels like, we wasn't clicking anytime we was together. It just didn't feel right. And she's living in Cali and I'm living over here in Miami, and she just feel like it just wasn't really meshing together. And I think I already did multiple videos on it, so I'm not gonna keep going on and on about how that was obvious from the public's point of view a long time ago. I also feel like both of their quote unquote men have something to do with them not being really that cool, because it's been rumors that Diddy was very mean to JT, but we've also seen Uzi talk bad to Caresha like he did that one time on that live, and JT did not check him. So to me, it gives y'all both just didn't like each other's niggas for real. And due to that, because each one of y'all was up underneath y'all niggas 24/7, how was that gonna work? When Caresha don't like Uzi, and when JT don't like Diddy, how's that gonna work? I really feel like that has a lot to do with it too. So a lot of people feel like let's move on. Actually, let's go on to the Cardi and JT thing. So see, this is the thing, I don't pay enough attention to social media to be able to say yay or nay. A lot of people feel like Caresha don't stand up for JT the way that JT stands up for her. I can't say neither here nor there. I don't pay attention to the social media enough. But Santana had brought up the whole thing with Cardi, and when Cardi and JT kind of got into a back and forth. Now, I can't really remember exactly what happened with that situation, but Caresha ended up saying, I didn't jump in because I realized that they was arguing over the Super Freaky Girl remix, which I was not a part of. That's another reason too why I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect between them, because of the whole Nicki thing. I think it was very clear that Nicki didn't have a problem with JT, but she did get into it with Nicki. She did. And I didn't see when Caresha and Nicki got into it. I didn't see JT jump in and step in and say anything. So I'm not understanding why she not being held to the same standard. And it's very clear. Like, I think Caresha even said, because I think everybody was wrong. I feel like both of the city girls was wrong. But Caresha even said that there was a point in time when they wasn't even asking for the city girls anymore. They're just asking for JT, or they're just asking for me, but they're not asking for us as a collective. So when it comes specifically to the Freaky Girl remix, she didn't ask for the city girl, she asked for you. And not only did she ask for you, I didn't even know that you were on a song and that I wasn't. I feel like that has a lot to do with it too, the whole Nicki thing. It's clear that Nicki didn't like Caresha for whatever reason that was, and JT was up Nicki's ass. Like, JT has to take responsibility on her side too, because this whole thing was not just, all Caresha. Part of it, yes, part of it. So when it comes to the whole Cardi thing, that's pretty much, she said, I didn't feel like I needed to defend her because it didn't have anything to do with me. And some people feel like, well, she was dragging the group as a whole and you didn't do anything to jump in and say, again, I feel like that's more connected to the Nicki thing than anything else. One thing I did find interesting though, before I kind of wrap this up, is that Miami said when she turns in her music that the label pretty much says to her that they don't see any growth in her music, and that like people that was her age a couple years ago aren't in that same spot, and she just feels like, but I'm Miami, like this is the type of music that I make this type of music. So she said she's just gonna keep pushing. I think that says a lot. I think it says a lot that that's their feedback to you, is that there's no growth, you don't have your own sound, and realistically you cannot rap. You can't rap, hun. I think Caresha's best bet at this point is to lean more into being an influencer, reality TV person. She did say that she has a reality show coming. I think her best bet is to just lean more into that. And maybe you can do rap like on the side, like show yourself trying to record an album or whatever. But taking rap seriously and music seriously is not going to sustain Caresha. It's not. She cannot rap, and we all know that. So, and the music that Caresha has put out is terrible. It's bad. I can see why the label don't want to push it, because what they have pushed, it's bad. It's real bad. Real bad. Like she said, we go together real bad. Yeah. So that was pretty much the interview. That's really all that really happened or whatever this last week or so. But y'all get my comments. Y'all tell me what y'all think about the Drake thing, the Latto. What did y'all think of Latto's album? Tell me if y'all liked it. And let me know, do y'all feel like, whose fault do y'all feel the City Girls is no longer together? Do you think it's JT's fault, Caresha's fault, both, and why? But y'all get in the comments. Talk to you later. Bye.